Thank you. Did you like that last one? Wasn't that pretty? I'm glad you did. Thank you. That's the first time we've done that. That's called the Gold and Silver Waltz. And I think this is from our library. We've had it all along, been hiding in the drawer, and we finally brought it to the light of day. And I'm glad we did. That's a nice little waltz, set of waltzes. And that was by, who's that by? Oh, of course, Lehar, Franz, who brought us the Merry Widow, right? The Merry Widow Waltz. And we began the concert with Costa del Sol, which is the great David Schaefer composition that we commissioned in honor of our late conductor, Vinnie Bisceglia. We continue now with, this one is special. We got a very nice note this week. And I know every week I give the pitch about, adding your name to the list of sponsors on the back of our program. And someone took that to heart last week. And I won't embarrass her by mentioning her name. But she, in her very nice note to us, she mentioned how much she enjoyed when the band used to play at the Feast of St. Rocco up on Lincoln Terrace, the Saladini Club, every August. And that we used to play our unofficial theme song, number 17, the San Rocco TV March. So we're going to do this especially for our anonymous donor. She knows who she is. She shares a last name with me. Not related, though. Okay, while they're clipping the music to their stands, we'll take this opportunity to give our thanks to the Office of the Mayor, Dean Mazzarella. Special thanks to the Mayor's Administrative Assistant, Michelle Nato, for her tireless effort in coordinating all of the logistics and providing what we needed to make this venue accessible to all. So thanks to them, and we want to say our thanks to the AIS company of Leominster for the donation of the masks. If anyone needs a mask, we have them in the box that's right in front of me, right in front of the flagpole here. So thanks to AIS. And our concert sponsors, the Music Performance Trust Fund, in cooperation with American Federation of Musicians, Local 173 in Fitchburg, the City of Leominster, and the Leominster Cultural Commission through a grant from the Massachusetts Cultural Council, and all of our sponsors and patrons that are listed on the program. And like I said earlier, you too can find yourself listed. We're a 501c3 nonprofit organization, so any contributions are fully tax deductible. So we encourage you to give. Makes all the extra stuff possible. We continue with the music of Jerry Goffin and Carole King, and I think probably everyone knows who Carole King is because she's such a well-known performer. But when she was very young, and I mean like 18 or thereabouts, she married a fellow songwriter named Jerry Goffin. And one day, about 6 or 7 years ago, I suddenly realized how many songs in the popular canon they were responsible for. I mean, it's really unbelievable. And I think we put about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them together in this medley. And they're all by this young, at the time, married couple. The Locomotion, 1962, Little Eva, remember that? Go Away, Little Girl, that was Steve Lawrence, same year. Will You Love Me Tomorrow by the Shirelles. You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman, Aretha Franklin. Who knew that that was a Carole King song? Heidi Ho, that was recorded by Blood, Sweat and Tears in 1970, and One Fine Day, which the Shirelles did in 1963. So this will be a little bit of time travel for some of you, and for others it will be totally new music. But this is our tribute to Goffin and King. They wound up getting divorced, by the way. And then Jerry Goffin passed away a couple of years ago. But Carole King is still at it. Thank you. How about our soloists, Judy Piermarini on tenor saxophone, Pat Darby on flute, oh yes. So I'm thinking, gee, I'm forgetting someone. The guy that brought his mother to the concert tonight. And that's Lou Stamos on alto saxophone. Mrs. Stamos, will you forgive me? All right, we continue with one that's been in the band's library since the very beginning. This arrangement, you can see it's on yellow paper. And this one was actually published before the band came into existence, and there isn't a lot of music that can say that. But this is composer V.F. Shafranik's impression on the mythical continent of Atlantis. And this is in 4 movements, so they're not long. But we ask that you reserve your applause until the end of the piece. This is Shafranik's Atlantis. And if you like it, it's on our CD, number 17, which is no longer available. But we'll burn you a copy if you really like it. Okay, this is the one Mrs. Stamos came for. There'll be more than just one, Lou. This is an arrangement by Sammy Nestico. Sammy, all musicians know who Sammy Nestico is, but very few people in the public know who he is. Musicians know because in school bands, we play lots of his music. He wrote a lot of stuff for school bands. But he also wrote, like, for the Count Basie Orchestra, and he wrote for everybody. He was one of those guys that, he was one of the ghostwriters in Hollywood when, and we talked about this about Warren Barker last week, when, Nelson Riddle or Billy May or the Newmans, Lionel Newman, when they would have too much on their plate, they would give assignments to ghostwriters and say, here's a sketch, orchestrate this for me, I need it at 4 o'clock. And Sammy was one of the go-to people for that. And he did a lot of television stuff, none of it credited, or at least very little of it. But if you go to the West Coast and mention his name, everybody has tremendous respect for him. And you will too after you hear this composition. It's called Persuasion. And we first did it, actually, here at the Common. Remember that? That was the first time we did that. It was the 4th of July, the year 2015. So anyway, we're going to bring it to you again. It's just a lush, beautiful arrangement, and in the hands of a master artist like Mr. Stamos, who asked me not to mention that he played with the Boston Pops. But he still brings his mother here. Anyway, this is Sammy Nestico, Lou Stamos, Persuasion. Lou Stamos. Well done, Lou. And the band. Thank you. There's a little solo there by Joe McCarthy, our trumpet player. Joe's a new father, so he's not getting much sleep, probably. Not bad for somebody who's sleep deprived. Next we have music that you know from television. This was featured prominently in the Ken Burns documentary, The Civil War. It's written by a gentleman from upstate New York, and it's probably made him, well, probably not wealthy, but I'm sure wealthier than he was before he wrote it. This is Calvin Custer's arrangement of Ashokan Farewell. And once again, we call on the the infinite well of musicality from Lou Stamus. Thank you. Lou Stamus, alto sax. Several years ago, we did a tribute to the music that was 50 years old. And so I guess that would have been 5 years ago. This This is an arrangement that I did that features several songs from the year 1965. And you'll hear A Taste of Honey, I Got You Babe, What's Up Pussycat, and It's Not Unusual. It's called Turn Back the Clock 1965. Thank you. That was Debbie Henke on oboe. Thank you. Before we play our next to last number, I need to make an announcement. Unfortunately, this is going to be the concluding concert of our summer season. It wasn't supposed to be, but with Governor Baker's new mandate of just this afternoon, we're not going to be able to gather in crowds like this for the foreseeable future. So I'm afraid this is the concluding concert. We didn't intend it to be the last time we saw you, but that's how things work out. We knew going into this that this could happen, and it did, and we're glad we were able to bring you at least some concerts this summer instead of none, and I hope you're glad too. Thank you. And most importantly, as far as we know, no one was harmed in the process of performing these concerts, either in the audience or the band, so we're glad for that too. We're going to play the music of Leroy Anderson, and this is one we haven't done for a while. Leroy Anderson was keen on making music out of unusual things. He was inspired by the way soft shoe dancers would put sand on the stage to kind of amplify the sound of their steps. And it inspired him to write this sandpaper ballet, which ordinarily features the drummer playing sandpaper blocks. But Jason is going to use the magic of his electronics and do that. So this is Leroy Anderson's Sandpaper Ballet. Lou, I missed you. You had a solo on that last one. Boy, you came the right night, Mrs. Stamos, I'll tell you. We don't usually feature him this much, it goes to his head. By the way, I wanted to mention, those of you, if you're ever in the Lowell area, Lou is the director of the Portuguese Colonial Band in Lowell. So, that's the name of it, right? No.
Holy Ghost Band. Holy Ghost Band.
When did you change the name?
Maybe 50 years ago.
50 years ago? Okay. Well, I remember the old name, you know. The Holy Ghost Band. Easy for you to say.
Took me a long time to learn.
Anyway, here's the Sandpaper Ballet. Thank you. Before we wrap things up, our band manager, John DiCicco, in a very unusual move, requested that he say a few words. So enjoy it, because he doesn't do this much.
For good reason. Well, in a very unusual season, obviously, there's a lot of people to thank, and we've tried to thank everybody, especially here in the city of Leominster, for their incredible cooperation to make this happen. Back in March, early March, Steve and I were wandering around Carter Park trying to figure out how, if any way possible, we could try to salvage something this year to keep the tradition alive for everyone, especially the musicians. I just want to personally thank every single musician who has participated this year and performed with our band. So please join me in doing that right now, because without the musicians, there would be no concerts. All the best ideas, all the hard work doesn't happen without all of these folks right here who put their faith in Steve and I to try to pull this off for all of you. So again, thank you to everyone who's here. Some people are not here tonight who have performed with us throughout the season, but I know they hear you and they appreciate that applause. Last but certainly not least, someone who corralled me and convinced me to attempt this is this gentleman right here. And Steve and I have known each other since junior high school, when we played on the stage at Gallagher Junior High back there. And all along the way, Steve has always been the dreamer and the idea guy in all the ventures we've done, musically speaking. And nothing's changed over that 40 plus years that we've been involved with this group, in that he, again, corralled me and said, we've got to try to make this work. And so Steve has done so much work this year, more so than every other year that he does so much to keep this band alive at Carter Park, our normal home. But as you can all know, this is extraordinary times. And it took an extraordinary effort on his part to coordinate all of this and put these programs together for you. So he's going to kill me later for doing this tonight, because he didn't know I was going to do this, and he told me ahead of time, you can have the mic, but please don't, give me any platitudes. But there's no way that we're going to walk away from this season, truncated as it is, without acknowledging this gentleman's efforts, because he's the guy who really, truly made this happen. Thank you.
Well, he got that in right at the whistle, didn't he? I really like to acknowledge all of the musicians, because individually, because they deserve it. There are so many to thank, but real quick, I want to mention We did lose one of our clarinet players this morning, and we had a friend step in at the very last minute and did just a phenomenal job. I mean, you can imagine sight reading this music, having never seen it until you got here tonight. So I want to say thank you to Mark Staniford on first clarinet. Phenomenal job. Thank you. And also in the clarinet section, Bill Williams, Lou Garofalo, we don't know where Bernie is, and Sharon DeChico and Steve Archambault on bass clarinet. Found it. Now if I can only read it. On flute, from left to right, Pat Darby, Michelle Hefner, and Meredith Lord. Our double reeds, right in front of me, Debbie Henke, and in the second row, John Strang on bassoon. On alto sax, what's your name again? Lou. Lou Stamos and Steve Dauphiné. And behind them, a person who's also largely responsible for all of this happening, my wife Judy Piermarini on tenor sax. Behind her, well, let's go next to her on euphonium, and I didn't acknowledge his solo in Atlantis. Beautiful job, Charlie. Charlie Leach on euphonium. Behind them, in our trombone section from left to right, we have Dan Walker, Ken Anderson, and Dan Johnson. On tuba, Simon Rodequins. You probably can't see him, but he's back there. On drums, Jason Sharon. And timpani and everything else he did tonight. Wonderful job, Jay. In our horn section, from right to left, we have Alan Ventura, Tabitha Greenlees, and Mary Kate Bourne. In our trumpet section, and we'll go from left to right, Fred Bernhardt, John DiCicco, Phil Nermy. I want to make sure they're sitting in the order I've got them. Mark Sanchez and Joe McCarthy. How could I miss my buddy from Berkeley? On string bass, Stefan Arsenault. And we conclude with God Bless America. Thank you, everyone. And thank you to John DiCicco and his wife Sharon, who are responsible for all this setup, lights, everything for the band. He told you that I did all the work. He really did it. And so thank you, John. Thank you, Sharon, for everything you did to make this season happen. And watch our website. Thank you. Watch our website, www.colonialband.org. If there's going to be a Christmas concert, the information will be there. And our Facebook page at Leominster Colonial Band, the information will be there. So till we meet again, thank you.